to the channel. In the workshop today, I have this rather fine looking 1974 Garelli Concorde moped. The new owner of it has had it about 6 months, hasn't been able to get a spark out of it, she hasn't been able to run it, so he's asked me to check it over, make sure everything's okay. So first things first, let's test the ignition coil. Got my digital multimeter set up, and the good thing about mopeds is it's generally the secondary winding on the coil that breaks, because it's made up of many turns of very fine wire, which is why they kind of go open circuit. And so all you got to do is get your multimeter, put one of the probes in the spark plug cap, and put the other one, ground it on the engine somewhere, and just see if you can get a resistance reading. Alright, open. Let's have a look. Plug it in just the right place. There you go. 5.4 kiloohms. I've got to check the cap as well, because some of these also have a built-in kind of resistor in them as well. So if in doubt, take it off. Check on the lead as well. There you go. So the coil seems to be good on this one. Okay, so I've removed the magneto casing off the right hand side of the engine. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so those of you that have worked on a Puch Maxi or a Tomos A3 or A35 moped will recognise that magneto. It's the Bosch 90mm stator plate version. The only difference is on the Garelli it rotates clockwise because it's on the right hand side of the engine, whereas on the Puch and the Tomos it rotates anti-clockwise, which means the timing marks are going to be in the opposite side. So if you got top dead center at the top of the flywheel, then your 23 degrees before is going to be the right side of that, whereas on the Puch and the Tomos it will be to the left side of that. On this one the points gap was far too big, and that was causing the issue with the weak spark. So I've reset it to 15 thou, which is 0.35 millimeters, and it's now got a healthy spark. Basically, if the gap is too big, the coil doesn't charge up for long enough, and that produces a weak spark, which isn't enough to jump the gap on the spark plug. So that's all sorted now. Let's put it back together. Right, that's the magneto side cover put back on along with the pedal. One thing I will mention is that the coil, points and condenser are all new parts. I'm not sure why the person that fit them didn't set the gap correctly, because you think they want to try and start it afterwards and ride the bike. It's a bit strange, but onto the fuel system. The carburetor on this bike is the Delorto SHA 1412, and it's the one with the choke lever here, which you set before starting, and then when you get the twist grip full turn, it knocks it off. Throttle cable there, the adjustment. This is where the fuel line attaches here. There's usually a filter inside this little cover here. On this one it's missing, there's an O-ring. I did try fitting a filter to it, but it leaked, so I'm not sure if it's because it's a very early version. I don't know if there's a slight change in design, but the O-ring is staying in for now. I've already taken the float bowl off and cleaned the jet out because there's a little bit of muck in there. It's a 50mm jet. There's no needle in these, it's just a throttle slide, and there's a brass Venturi kind of tube with 3 ports in it for sort of idle, low RPM and high RPM. And usually just blowing them up with an air line and cleaning the jet is all you really need to sort out any blockages in the carburetor. I did notice there was fuel building up inside here, which was due to a leaky gland nut here, so I just pinched that up, and I'm not convinced it stopped it. I'm going to change this pipe anyway as well, because it's gone solid with age. One important thing to do is make sure whatever pipe you fit is petrol resistant. Okay, this is the piece of fuel pipe that I've got to replace the old one, and it's supposed to be petrol resistant, but there's no markings on it and I don't particularly trust it. So what I usually do in this sort of situation is I cut a piece off and I leave it in petrol overnight, Let's see if it reacts. So let's go and take a look, see what's happened. Alright. As you can see, it has swollen up quite a bit. Now, I do the same sort of thing with O-rings as well that's supposed to be petrol resistant, because once I fitted one to a fuel tap on my son's Reju, it seemed fine, didn't leak, put petrol back in the tank, got the bike out the next morning, and the contents of the petrol tank were all over the workshop floor, so I was none too pleased about that, and that's why I won't be using this pipe on the Garelli. Okay, new pipe is on, doesn't appear to be leaking at all, so let's try and start it, shall we? Okay, so on these bikes there's actually a clutch lever on the left hand side of the handlebars, so even though there's a back brake lever, that little lever hanging down there is the clutch lever, so you've got to pull that in to start it. I'll set the choke. See if I just do this off a kick, see what happens. Plug it on. Yeah, I think that went well. It's a bit smoky. This runs a 25-to-1 petrol oil mix, so yeah, a bit smokier than your average kind of modern moped, but that's what two-strokes are about, isn't it? Right, that's about done on this one. I'm going to give the owner a call, tell them they can come pick their bike up so they can go out for a ride this summer on it. And I'll see you all again soon. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. It's free to do so. And you take care out there.